Hello everyone, welcome to 317 Auto. My name is Mark and excited to bring to you today a review and first impressions drive. I borrowed this GT500 from a good friend of mine, John, who's going to be joining us just a little bit later to talk about his experiences and his impressions after owning the GT500 since new. What you're looking at is one of 11 colors for 2020 for the GT500. This is rapid red metallic, absolutely a gorgeous color. This stickered at just under $80,000. And if you take into consideration the performance of this vehicle, you'll see bang for the buck. It is just an amazing build. We're inside the cabin of the GT500, getting ready to go for a drive and give you our first impressions of what it's like to drive the GT500 for the first time. I have to admit, I have been looking forward to this all day since I knew we were shooting the video. I'm just hoping that by the end of it, I'm not ready to go trade in one of my cars on one of these. I have a feeling I'm setting myself up here though. One of the things that I notice right away inside the GT500 as a pretty large individual, 6'3", 200 pounds, is just the room that you have in the cabin and the comfort that you have in the cabin. The seats are made to accommodate a big person, which, like myself, which is really nice. So for me, having had several vets and struggled getting in and out, this is a nice change. The ease of entry and exit into the cabin and just the overall space you have once you're in it. The ride quality of this car, given its level of performance, and bear in mind, the GT500 comes standard with the Magna Ride. That's not an additional option that you've got to add on. It definitely makes a huge difference in terms of the ride quality. Fit and finish and the quality of the materials used in this, really all the Mustangs, I think they've done a really nice job with that, but in the GT500, I think they just, take it a step above. Things like the Alcantara steering wheel, the dash, and so forth. Really just the overall comfort is something that I really appreciate. Another thing I love about the GT500 is when you look out over the hood, just that massive bulge in the hood with that big V8 with the supercharger and the air extractors looking at you. It just says muscle and performance car all over it. Giving this thing a little bit of juice, and oh my gosh, the throttle response with that supercharger, and I'm barely getting on it, is just phenomenal. Going to do a little bit of a pull in the GT500. Oh my. Oh, the downshifts. Guys, I don't know what to say, but that is just absolutely insane. I don't even think I was half throttle. I don't know what I was, but the power band on this thing just wants to just keep going and going and going. Wow. Just even a lane change is just so tight and solid. This thing is just incredibly poised, and I can absolutely see why people want to track these cars. Oh, the downshifts. All I can say is initial impressions of driving this car is I am 110% thoroughly impressed, and this is just like a test drive. I haven't even gotten used to the car and everything this can do from a performance perspective. We'll get to hear some more of those downshifts. Oh my gosh, that's just beautiful. I'm sorry, but an EV just can't replicate that. There's just no way. Well, John, I probably should not have driven this.
It's addictive. Just make sure you have money for gas.
Yeah, but you know what? If you're buying this car for gas mileage, you're buying the wrong car.
You buy this car for miles per mile, not miles per gallon.
Wow. Oh, the downshifts. I just can't get over how tight and the way those downshifts sound. They're just so quick.
They're amazing.
They really are. You're looking at John. He's the owner of this GT500. He spec'd it and bought it new and has owned it ever since, just over 4,000 miles. So welcome, John, to the channel. Longtime friend and
big fan of the channel. Big fan.
Yeah, and one of the best auto enthusiasts I know. He's well known here in the 317 area. You know, just for the viewers, you've owned this for about 2 years now, right?
So actually, I ordered the car in July of 19. I got it in November of 2020, thanks to COVID and other things. But I had a friend at the plant who helped, shepherd it through, made sure it was well taken care of. I got pictures of it going through the line, which was really cool. So I want to thank him. But received it in November, just in time for winter. So I got to put a little bit of mileage on it, loved it, took it on a couple nice rides, and then literally put away here for an Indiana winter. Pulled it back out and have really enjoyed driving the car. It is everything I had hoped for as far as performance, the value. For $79,000 out the door for just plus taxes and gas guzzler. 85 grand all up, all in. It's hard to beat.
I would agree, John.
I looked hard at the GT350, loved it. Just thought the handling was great. Similar color to this was the one I was looking at, but where it fell short is if you've ever owned a supercharged car, you get addicted to boost.
Yes.
And those things feel like a big block. And I know that the 5.2 Voodoo motor is a great motor and has its place probably on a racetrack. I really most of my stuff is around town. I do some track events here and there, but primarily I just love that feel. It almost feels like a big block, right?
Well, and John, to your point, owning a C8 and owning a supercharged Mustang with the Stage 3, I can speak firsthand to what you're talking about becoming addicted to the boost. So when I go from my C8 to the Roush with the supercharger, it's just a completely different experience. And if you haven't driven a supercharged Mustang, I invite you to drive one. You'll be hooked and you'll want to buy one without a doubt. So
very much so. And I really think the nice thing about this is that, Mustangs have always had the power. Handling has sometimes been lacking, and sometimes the braking dynamics have been lacking. That is not the case on this, with 6 pistons up front, Brembo, 16-inch rotors. It was interesting when I went to the thing I talked about, the Ford kind of demonstration data, potential owners. They showed us the original wheel off of Shelby, which was 16 inches in diameter, which is the size of the brake rotors on this. So you get a feel very quickly for what this has as far as the capabilities. The other thing I'm very impressed about is just the heat management of the car. You look at the intercoolers up front, you look at the cooling capacity. There's actually a fluid dynamic model you probably ought to show on the channel. You can probably find the graphic on the internet. but it shows just how much heat this thing dissipates at speed and the cooling efficiency of what they've designed in. So it's really just stout.
We're still on our test drive here of the GT500, which
because Mark doesn't want to stop.
Because I want to keep driving it, but we're running out of time because John's got to get back home. So I don't know what we're going to do. I'm going to have to find a way to drive it again. As a potential buyer.
Really? You've made from automotive critic to potential buyer.
Well, no. For the audience out there,
the audience, yes,
that might be thinking about a GT500. Any words of wisdom?
Yeah, well, I'll just give you my criteria. So I didn't want the Recaro seats. I'm 6'2", 220, and those were just a little too tight. And the word is snug. Snug. So I stayed away from those. These are perfect seats, I think, in my mind.
Very comfortable.
Might like more bolstering on a track day, but 99% of the time they're fantastic. They're also heated and cooled. I didn't want stripes. It was interesting. I ran into a bunch of guys at a brewery, stopped by with my wife, and there were 2 other Shelbys out front, which I was just, made me super geeked. Young guys inside, owning them, and we had great conversations. Because I said, hey, those are Shelbys outside? They said, yeah, this is really nice. I said, there's another one out there. They're like, you're kidding. So they all ran out, came back in, figured out it was me. But they're like, dude, you didn't get any stripes. And I said, I'm over 50, so I don't need stripes. So anyway, and I also didn't want to have to, you and I like to clean cars. I didn't want to have to polish around stripes. And so I'm happy I got it the way I did. I ordered it in rapid red to match my 03 Terminator, which is in red fire, which is pretty close. So I kind of wanted siblings.
Stay tuned, because we may have
It's going to end up on the channel?
It's going to end up on the channel. It is a beautiful, beautiful Cobra.
Yeah,
so,
original owner, 43,000 miles, and no, I'm not selling.
Convertible.
Yep. I think you have to find what you want. I wanted the handling pack because I didn't want the wicker bill and the nice, spats out front. And I think it does make a difference. I did an airstrip run, half mile, the airstrip attack last year with the guys from Fat House, and I think I went 154.9 out the door in stock trim. The car is completely stock. There's a JLT air take on it and take on it now, but when I did that, the car was bone stock. They had a couple of their cars going to 180s, 190s, and one went 203. So, but no, I think this is a really good value. It's comfortable. You can get in and drive it. If you flip it into normal mode and quiet, you can creep through your neighborhood. Nobody knows. Well, they'll probably hear a little bit, but
or in this mode, when John's coming over, I always know he's coming, because I hear him first before I see him.
Yeah. Well, actually, the funny thing is when we got this, my neighbor came over and she said, I heard you got a new car. She said, I didn't see it. I actually heard it. So I knew it had to be you.
Hey, so that's going to do it for us today on 317 Auto. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being part of the channel and being part of this experience here on 317 Auto. And we'll see you next time.